So if you haven't done so far and you're on, make sure you blow up the chat with your contact info, website, social medias, all of that good stuff. If it's your first time getting on, welcome, welcome, welcome. The whole point of our brainstorming sessions is to come together, share ideas, and just be better. So that's the whole point, making sure that um we pretty much coming together, sharing ideas, no matter what industry you're in, and going over different topics, different elements when it comes to building a business, building a brand. Today is a very, I think every topic is special, but I think this one is um, uh, a little bit more special than others. We're gonna be touching on marketing and branding. This is a huge one most businesses have trouble with. So I just wanted to kind of dive into the basics when it comes to branding, when it comes to marketing your company. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about having a logo. Branding is all about telling a story and making that promise to your audience on who you're actually going to be. So that's the whole point. I want to kind of dig deep into um, different strategies, um, different ways to brand, different ways to market, and I want to get some of your insights on um, the best ways and some of the strategies that you actually use to brand and market your companies as well. So if you already been on, you guys already know how we get down. We always start off with you guys, basically giving you guys the floor to introduce yourself and to answer our icebreaker question. So let me actually get the icebreaker question real quick. All right. So today's icebreaker question is, if your favorite brand was a superhero, what superpowers would it have? And how would it use those powers to win over customers and save the day? I always gotta come with an out of the box question. So the icebreaker question is, if your favorite brand were a superhero, what superpowers would it have? And how would it use those powers to win over customers and save the day? So I don't know when give y'all a little time to think, a little time to think. So real quick, I want to remember we're gonna start off with you guys introducing yourself, and talk, introducing your company, and then we're gonna go right into if you have an answer for me. Hopefully everybody got an answer. Um, want you to go ahead and go into the icebreaker question. So I'm gonna go off the list. Can I get Alton? Can I get you to unmute yourself and introduce yourself and introduce your company?
Hey, what's up, brother?
How you doing? How you
What's
doing?
up, family? What's up, family? How y'all doing?
Bless. I appreciate you hopping on, man. Tell the folk what you do, man, and give a little background about yourself.
Well, everybody knows me as Chef Al. I'm a chef. I've been a chef for about 22 years, and I decided that I'm getting tired of working in other people's restaurants. So I'm really trying to get on. I got a couple of clients and I love cooking. I cook with love, and that's my secret ingredient. Y'all can reach me at Catering Taj on Instagram. Uh, And to answer your question, if I had a favorite brand, oh, that's a hard one because I really don't have a brand or something like a go-to that you know I can really rock with like that. Man, that's a pretty hard question. You have to come back to me on that one. I'm gonna have to think harder on it. But I appreciate y'all having me on your platform, and I'm here to learn. And if anybody had any questions for me for food or different ingredients or something that they had issue with as far as something that they trying to put together for their spouse, I most definitely can help y'all out.
So we're gonna do it like this. I'm gonna rephrase the question. If your brand was a superhero, what superpower would it have? And how would you use it to basically get to win customers over?
All right, that's the easy one. Can I go ahead and answer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My food will make that person fall in love with whoever they cooking for. A little bit of special seasonings and singing and having some good music playing and just good vibes. The food will make that person not like hypnotize them, but like I guess bring the best out of that person.
I love that. I love that. It definitely does me. It definitely does me. I'm a foodie, man. It's to my heart. I appreciate you, King. Sure.
Hey, and also I heard that I think today is your birthday, or you got a birthday coming up. Happy birthday!
Appreciate you, King. I appreciate you. The marathon continues.
Oh yeah.
We got. Can I get Angela?
All right, I am here.
How you doing,
All
Queen?
right, hi everybody. My name is Angeline Payne. I am a presidential nominee for the 2024 election. I've been running for the last 2 years. It has been an incredible journey, having so much fun and learning so much, and ready to make sure that our citizens know and understand their role in our electoral system. If my brand was a superhero, of course, it would be Wonder Woman. And using the law of attraction, I would be able to bring in people into my business and be it known that running as a candidate, you do have to be established as a business in your state. So I am the business of Angeline Payne for US president. And I would use those powers as well to also make sure I use the power of the whip to help whip this electoral into shape so that we as a people can get back to democracy and stop the subjugation of this country.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That lasso of truth. I love it. Okay.
Okay.
I appreciate you, Queen, for sure.
Let's
We have next.
see what's going on here.
I'm gonna get you on. Adam. Go ahead and mute my computer. Whenever you ready. Adam.
Oh,
Hey
swear I'm paying attention. Hey guys, I'm Adam Dinitz. I happen to own a company where we make modular affordable housing, or for that matter, any kind of housing, but I prefer modular affordable. We do use modular construction. Other than that, I help a lot of people out with business problems, and I'm definitely an overachiever when it comes to doing business mixers and networking. Let's see. My company's superpower would be the ability to create super affordable housing and be able to automatically get through all the red tape and all the not in my backyard situations and be able to help as many people as possible.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I appreciate you. Who we have next? We have Let me get you, Kia.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Kia, the art junkie. How's everyone doing today?
Bless.
So as you all know, I am an art curator here in Atlanta. I also do art content and interviews, and I also work with various galleries throughout Atlanta. Um, God, that question kind of stumped me. If my brand was I don't know what superhero it would be, but my superpower would be to tap into everybody's creativity and inner child, so that I can know my target market easier. Like, would I have a show or artist come out, I already automatically know the people to bring out because I already know like what their inner child like or what type of creative items or pictures they like. So I will only bring out the crowd for specific artists who I know is gonna buy their art.
I love that. Said the key words, some key words to target audience. Definitely be touching on that in a minute for sure. I got my dude Philip on here. What's going on?
There we go. All right, there we go. Guys, sorry I'm not on camera. For some reason, my laptop camera is acting nutty. I'm Phil Jackson with Shootworks. We specialize in red carpet events. We handle event media here in the city of Atlanta, as well as a few places outside of the city. If we were to have a superpower, I would want to be Professor X from the X-Men, because I would want to read the minds of my clients to know what they actually want versus what they're actually asking me. So we can cut through the process of the conversation, the budget, the whole nine, and I can say, okay, you got $5. This not gonna work. No, just kidding. But this way we could be more efficient to know what the client actually wants, because a lot of times the client doesn't know how to verbalize what they want. And it's a process of pulling it out. So that power would help me to better understand the ask, to better understand the client.
I love that. I love that. I love that. For sure. It's definitely a process for sure. So if you guys just getting in, make sure you guys blow up the chat, post your websites, social medias, all of that good stuff, and make sure you guys follow somebody else. I want to bring up next Brian Onset and Co. Yes, we are at the penthouse, Brian. Pull up. Meanwhile, though, go ahead and unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and then I'm gonna repeat the icebreaker question for you.
All right, word. Yeah, man. So it's BP on set. Been rocking with the mob for a minute now. Actually, the mob got me my first out of town gig out to Detroit for this Villa Largo conference. And so we had a chance to live stream it out to their like international global audience. But my background, advertising, marketing, branding. Now I can add to the list AVO. That's an autonomous vehicle operator. Right now I'm currently working with a company called M.O.B, which is an autonomous rideshare company. And they just opened up a location out in Peachtree Corners at the Curiosity Labs. So right now, I just got certified. Oh man, I can't see. Hey boss, come up, son, Joe. It's fine, ass nigga. Oh my bad, y'all. But working with them. And this great opportunity, man. It's a small but mighty tech startup. They're based in like a few other markets. I want to say Miami. What is it? Miami, Ann Arbor, Arizona, Japan, and a few others. And they use like LiDAR, radar, and cameras. And they're like one of only 3 companies in America that actually have the ability to do that legally. So yeah, man, it's a blessing. And yeah, man, that's a little bit. I know I'm rambling, but I'm just trying to focus on this road. But yeah, man, go ahead.
So, real quick, if your brand was a superhero, what superpower would it have, and how would you use it to win the customer over?
Hold on. Let me roll up this window, man. My bad, I can hear you. Say that again for me, Delano.
So if your brand was a superhero, what
Mhm.
superpower would it have, and how would you use it to win customers over?
Oh wow. Man, that's a good one right there. Where you finding this? You must got Chat GPT.
You know it.
Um,
Now, bro, I got that one off my head, off top of my head though. But yeah, I usually, my AI assistant is my best friend.
yeah, man. That's a good one. Wow. Well, you know what? I'm gonna just say for the sake of Black Panther, because I'll have a loyal base of Wakandians that would purchase my product. So I would probably start off with that and knowing the power and technology that we have, being able to know I can expand to other markets outside of Wakanda, knowing I got a loyal melanated base. Oh yeah. So that's what I probably route I would go. I'll probably just for the sake of something just off the top.
I love that. I love that. I love that. That's a good one. So, again, today I wanted to touch on one of our modules, which is marketing and branding. This is a big one for me because over the years, especially consulting businesses, that and still now, like I was just on the phone with a company yesterday, and was just talking about, they was basically just telling me how that was one of their main challenges, as far as advertising, marketing, and just the branding side of it. And it's common denominators. I think we all had some trouble with that at one point of time, unless you just went to school or have a background in it. And I wanted to kind of go over some key elements, especially when it comes to branding. I think some of the key elements of branding is mission. What does your company stand for? I always tell people, you know, it's not about you, figuring out what service, and how you're going to service the community is big, and figuring out, what your mission is. And more importantly, figuring out how to communicate that mission. I think is super big. What's your vision? What is the long-term impact you want to have on the world? And I think this is another big one that separates a business owner and an entrepreneur from a hustler. I think and most of you guys know what I'm talking about. We all, I think most of us started off hustling because we gotta pay the bills. So we try to figure out what's the fastest way to make money right then and there. But when it comes to building a brand, you always want to think about long-term impact. And I think that's a big one. Values. What are your core beliefs? And how can that guide your business decisions? At the end of the day, um, was a big one. Personality. What tone and style do you use to communicate? Is it social media? Is it email? Is it text message? Is it phone calls? This is something that you know, went over when I went to school for business communication. Some things shouldn't be communicated via text. Some things should be a phone call. Some things should be an email, especially when it gets, to certain times of the day and different things like that. Um, what is your promise? What are you offering to your customers? And how do you stand behind it? That's a huge one. So I think, at the end of the day, identifying what makes your brand unique and what sets it apart from your competitors is huge. That's why I'm always, if you've been in a consultation with me before, that's one of the first things I ask, who is your competitor? And it's a tricky one because most people can't answer that or just won't answer it. I've had people just like, the most common answer, I don't compete against no one. And it's not that, I think it's enough for all of us. I don't think, I don't mean compete in that way. but it's someone out there doing what you do or close to what you do. So you always want to identify that and figure out who your competitors is. This is a huge one when it comes to market research. Figuring out what's the demand, and figuring out who's supplying that demand. And I think that's important. Especially when it comes to us. When we do, especially we do a lot of market research when we're designing websites, different things like that, or even when we're doing social media management and marketing for our members and some of our clients. That's the first thing we do is figure out, well, what's trending in this industry. How can we identify and make this brand unique? And not saying that you have to straight out copy what your competitors is doing, but even today I was talking to one of my partners. We're about to rebrand their website, and that's one of the things that I asked for is do your research on what your competitors' websites look like. Matter of fact, who put some ones in the chat if you actually study your competitor's website. If you've been on your competitor's website, if you checked out somebody that's in your same industry, if you actually checked out their website and studied it. See some, let me see some. And put some zeros in the chat if you haven't. It's okay. It's not. That's big. That's big. And from doing this, it also give you some ideas. You might, like I told my partner today, send me 3 websites that you like, and send me 2 that you don't, right? So we can pinpoint, what it is. And like Phil said earlier, sometimes it get hard when you're trying to pull information out of a client or out of someone that you're working with. Um, and it gets hard. So, I think this is one of the ways that this is one of my strategies that where I make it easier. I make it easier to kind of get inside their brain, because it's hard to take an idea and bring it outside your brain and put it in black and white, or put it on a site. So this is one of the ways that I can really pinpoint what do you want your website to look like? What do you want your social media to look like? What do you want your branding to look like in general? I also do this with logo design as well. What do you want your design to look like? Sometimes most people don't know. Like I just did a logo for a church, not maybe a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't know what they wanted. These are older people. They just like, look, I just want a logo that looks good, right? And some of us, sometimes I hate that, but I have to understand this is the whole reason. This is my service to them. They not, they don't, this is not their area, right? So, that's one of the things that I did with them is, give me some references. First of all, what don't you like? What's nice to you? It's different for everybody. So, I think that's real big, figuring out, um, I think that's a real big strategy when it comes to figuring out what sets you apart from your competitors. How can you clearly and concisely communicate this to your audience, right? So another one is an exercise. Really just exercise. Um, and I think this goes back into figuring out. I think this goes back into what we talked about even last week when we were talking about market research, figuring out just putting it. Sometimes you got to put it out there. What do your audience want too? Which I've had that happen a lot of the times. Especially when it comes to revamping the site. Sometimes you might put out a site, and in your mind it might be nice, but when the consumer goes on it, they're confused. They don't know, what to do, and then they get overwhelmed, and then they click off your site. They don't even get halfway through it, right? So I think that's the biggest thing is figuring out what your consumer likes. But I think figuring out what your competitor is doing is a big one. It's really gonna kind of skip past a lot of the stuff. So I think that's something that we all needs to do. Even to this day, I look up my competitors because it never ends. Just because you did it, in the beginning of your brand, that don't mean you should do it again, because there's always new companies arising. There's always somebody out there that's doing it better than you. In certain areas, you might have, a better personality, but they might have a better website. So, with that being said, they might be performing a little bit, or they may be reaching a larger audience, at the end of the day. So real quick, can I get you guys to blow up the chat and just give me 3 words that describe your brand's unique selling position. Give me three words that describes your brand's unique selling proposition. How do we do that? Like what's 3 words that really separates you? Hold on, Brian. Somebody should be down there. I like that. I like that. Complete solution, quality, proven. So 3 words to describe your unique selling proposition. So what makes you unique? Creative flair, imagination, approachable. Yes, that's a big one. Cause I know I wasn't approachable. Sure. Yes, yes, yes. A servant leader. I love that. I love that. I love that. That's dope. Passionate. I love that. Proven. I really love that. Proven. I love that. I love it. So when it comes to understanding your target audience, which is a huge one. This is another one, you guys. Customer satisfaction, quality, inspiration. I love that. I love that. We got 2 qualities. Okay, okay, okay. Quality over quantity. I always say that. Matter of fact, I need to put that down as a merch idea. Customer satisfaction. I love creative flair too. I love that. Hold on, you guys. Let me write down this idea because I will forget. I will All right. Had to get that idea down. Willpower. I love it. I love it. Unmovable. Okay.
I apologize. I was had to step out for a moment. What was the question?
So we basically just I was basically just reading some of these words. We started at three, but y'all I didn't got a couple. No, this is inspiration. This is the whole point.
Oh, okay.
I was just reading out a couple, and then I had to write down the idea real quick that popped in my head for some merch.
Yeah, okay.
So I want to kind of go over understanding your target audience, because this is super big. This is another one that I have trouble with when it comes to, and not just me, but I think it's a question that it's hard for certain business owners and entrepreneurs that I talk with. It's hard for them to answer that, right? Because most people is, when I ask them who's their target audience, they say everyone, right? And that's not true. Um, unless you like selling water or something like even then that's still it's still a thin line, right?
Yeah.
It's super hard to get certain business owners to answer that question. So the first thing is defining your audience. Discuss the importance of understanding who your ideal customers are. You reviewing demographics, as far as age, gender, income level is a big one. Figuring out, do they even, especially for say for a service like Fields. This is a luxury service, right? Everyone is not gonna have the income to afford his services. So figuring out what's the age, what's the gender, and what's the income level is super big. What's the lifestyle, what is the interest, what's the values, right? I think that's a big one, figuring out and really detailing, and this is something that we do for our brands and our members who, every time we create a business plan, we make sure that we target and specify who is the target audience. And it's like a triple effect. Once we define who your target audience is, now we know how to advertise. Now we know how to market, right? Because you may be marketing, like I run across a lot of business owners who do sponsor ads, right? Um, and for the most part, sometimes they have trouble because they're doing it wrong, right? They in 9 times out of 10, they're doing it wrong because they don't know who their target audience is. Once you identify your target audience, now you know how to target them. Now you know how to advertise to them. I was talking to a brand maybe a year ago, and they was like, "Yeah, we seen the billboard campaign you did for such and such. We want to do a billboard." But once I dug deep into, you know, what their brand was, I had to be honest with them and say, "Hey, maybe we need to scale it back. Maybe your target audience is not. Maybe this billboard campaign is not really going to do nothing for your target audience because they're not. You know what I mean? They not. That's not where they at. So, um, figuring out who your target audience is super big. At the end of the day. So real quick, because I don't want to be the only one talking. So real quick, how do you guys determine who your target audience is? What strategy do you guys use? Let's blow up the chat. Blow up the chat. And if anybody want to unmute themselves as well, and have like a quick back and forth on that as well.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, when you're looking to target and narrow who your audience is going to be, you have to definitely know what your message is.
Definitely. What's your
When you
mission?
know what your message is, you can start looking at the different places that you need to go to get that information. Being that I'm in the government, I know to stick with government offices who have a collection of data for individuals. And that's where I pull my information from for the different target of audiences I want to speak with the age dynamics, 18 to 25-year-olds, 25-year-olds to 35-year-olds, and 55 and older. And then I know what messages to put out there for them. Everybody don't get the same message because everybody is first not of the same generation, and you have to understand where they are and where they're coming from, or they're not going to get the message.
Most definitely.
So that's why that targeting is very important.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Defining your message for sure.
Hey, I'll jump in as well.
Yes, sir.
This is Phil with Shootworks. In our field, we actually have to do targeting and sub-targeting.
Mm,
For us, my target is anyone who really wants the image and to look great, to have the red carpet, high-end environment. That's the target. However, my sub-target is the check writers, or the person who's putting it together, or the people who are actually responsible for making it happen. The people who want it to be an easy part for them, who want to see the value, to make sure that this is worth it. So think about a 16-year-old girl who wants her party, and she wants a pony, and she wants the ice skating, and she wants all this big crazy stuff, and dad promised to get it for her. But then now dad has to look at it. So you're now catering to the daughter who you want to give this thing, and then you have to make sure that it fits for the business model for the person writing the check. So we actually have overall targeting where we put out this broad image of, hey, look at the lights, the excitement of what we offer. But then we really target the people who are making the decision, who are writing the checks, who this would be your publicists, your PR, your event planners, your coordinators, and sometimes your business owners who are having to decide if this is going to be worth it for us to come in and do this, or if it's something they can do themselves.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I agree for sure. Let me get
Hey, so what has been helping me figure out my target audience? Is first I get to know my artists. So I go to art shows or gallery shows or art events, and I'll take a look at the type of work that an artist has or has brought or what they do. And then I listen to the people. I listen to what they like, what they don't like. I listen to the people that's spending money, what they say they like, what they wish they could buy, what kind of type of art they say they want in their home. So that's how I when artists come to me about different type of shows to get into, that's how I can say, well, you'll probably be good at this show because your art fits the people that are wanting to buy this type of art, or fitting the people that goes to this gallery. Or hey, you might not want to do this street event. Your art is more gallery scale. So you might want to put this in a gallery because at your last art show, you know, a lot of people wanted to see this in a gallery. So I just pay attention to what the people are saying, especially the people that are buying the art, what they like about it, and where they would like to see more art. And that's how I can pick where to send artists to when they have questions about what type of shows that they think they should do with, depending on what type of artwork that they have.
I love that. I love that. That's big. I think, I mean, again, that goes back to, identifying the need, I think, and that's what gives you a level up, as well. Knowing who your target audience is, because I see a lot of business owners who could just basically vend at any type of event. And then, you paid your money, you vend it, but you didn't get anything out of it because it wasn't your target audience. Funny story, actually. we we did a we did a I don't even want to tell this story because I don't want to offend nobody. But long story short, we did a event. It was a um, it was a festival based around Christian. It was a Christian festival, right? And we brought out some vendors. Some of the vendors didn't do as well because most Christians are not into certain things. So I'm just gonna keep it short like that. But it was a huge. It was a learning point for that brand because they was one of those brands who felt like my brand is for everyone. So that was, something that, I mean, we didn't know it was a festival, a Christian festival, to be honest. But I think that was a huge example right in our face on, hey, you got to know your target audience. And even when we do Art Basel Miami, I think that was one of the, biggest turn points as well, showing how, and seeing how those art sellers, really go into connecting with the customer, connecting with different things like that. So, I know I see Phil got his hand up. What's going on? What's going on?
So just a quick question, and I know you're on the marketing side of this. Um, do you think you can find your target audience without some trial and error? I mean, I know you're a professional on the marketing side, but I mean, is there really a formula to, I know you can do certain things, but won't you always really have those kinds of trials just to see what works, what doesn't work, till you find what works for you? And
Well,
is that across the board for everybody?
Um, yes and no, right? For certain brands that I work with, it's clear. It's like obviously this is your target audience, and you should not go around that. Like I've worked with um a few brands who sold sex toys, right? So for brands like that, it's like okay, it's clear who your target audience is. They definitely not no 12-year-olds, right? But for certain brands, it can be trial and error, like photography, videography. I think those is a lot of trial and error that goes into that because things are always adapting. Because your target audience, it might be your audience, but they might not have the money for your services at that point. Or they might just advance, into something else. People change all the time. I seen it during the pandemic. The environment changed. The pandemic really changed who our target audience was, right? Because around that time I was on tour, and I was, we was basically curating our own tours, and a lot of our target audience was entrepreneurs, and to sub, I love this the sub target, right? To sub target that was mainly designers, models, beauty brands, different things like that, and that all changed when the pandemic came around. So it's a yes and no to that question. It can change for certain people, and then some people it's just like your target audience is your target audience. You just have to identify and figure out and really just focus on your target audience. I always tell people like you can and another thing as well that really helps in identifying your target audience is being able to focus on what actually works. Unless you're a millionaire that got and you got money to put in every single strategy, that's fine. But for someone with limited capital, you definitely want to narrow it down and niche it down so you can really focus on those areas. Whether it's it might be social media, and that's what I'm gonna go into in a minute. But it might be social media marketing. It might be you might want to just focus on just doing vending, just vending at different events, which is direct marketing. Um, or you might want to focus on billboards, or you might want to focus on just advertising in magazines. So it's different depending on who your target audience is, and it'll save you a lot of money and a lot of times when you identify who that target audience is. So I think I'm even no matter who you are, I'm big on identifying and narrowing it down, so we can focus on it and really get the bang out of your buck. Especially if you have in most businesses I work with have a limited capital. So we want to focus on that. We want to get a bang out of our buck. If you don't have a lot of money to put into marketing or advertising, or just have a large capital in general, you want to niche it down, and that'll save you a lot of headaches. If you don't have a big team, you want to niche it down, right? So that's my biggest thing. But I think it can change, it can shift. That's why I'm big on, I always tell people, it's fine to revamp and revisit your business plan, and your marketing strategy. What worked 5 years ago is not going to work today, even if you have the same target audience, right? So that leads me into market strategy. Marketing strategies is super big because, like I said, everybody don't collect information the same way. So it's content marketing, right? Where you use, valuable, relevant content to attract, engage, and retain a clear, defined audience, which is mostly is social media because, most of the content that you consume is via social media, unless you're someone that still watches TV or something like that. But even with that, I get a lot of brands who want to shoot commercials. The first thing I ask them is, where is this commercial going to go? Because is limited now when it comes to TV commercials being 30 seconds, people actually watching this. Even though you still get commercials on streaming services, but what most people do, they pay extra so they don't have to see those commercials. Or, if you're on YouTube, now they got it now where they kind of force you to watch the commercials. But what most people do when they see the commercials on YouTube, they skip it. So figuring out, figuring out who your target audience is and how they consume content. Is they somebody going to work every single day? Is your target audience somebody that go to work at 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock a.m. every single morning? Then yeah, maybe we should do billboard campaigns because I know your target audience is going to ride past them billboards. If it's somebody like me who mainly work remotely, I'm probably not going to see these billboards, enough to be like, let me check out this brand, because it takes the average person at least 8 times to see something before they say, you know what, let me check this out. And I think it's 12 now to be correct. I think it's 12 times people got to so they got to constantly see it. If it's a certain target audience, it might not be Instagram. So why are you spending money for sponsor ads on Instagram? Your target audience might not be on Instagram. They might be on TikTok. Or if you're an older person, for my older generation, they might be on Facebook. So let's focus on that. Let's not, sometimes you don't have to, always, like I said, unless you're rich, unless you, have a nice amount of capital, you want to narrow it down and really focus on that. And then from there, once, say, for instance, I'm not saying just stick to one strategy. What I'm saying is, target one, narrow it down, master it, and then convert over to other formats and different things like that, like email marketing. That's iffy. A lot of people don't even check their emails, but it's still relevant because a lot of people like myself I check my email every single day. So if you do some email marketing, and it's even a strategy that goes with that. I don't want to keep seeing spam, right? So, it's even a strategy within that, but it's still relevant because a lot of people like myself, and especially if your target audience is business owners, and let me just put this out right now. If you own a business, please check your email. Like it that irritates me. Like if you have a business, check your email, please. Okay. Back on to the other strategy. Influencer marketing. That's a big one. Especially nowadays when it comes to social media and digital marketing. Influencer marketing, as you can see, with the Keith Lee's, Keith Lee got the whole DC disrupted right now because he did some reviews on some restaurants. It made it to the news. They're talking about this guy on the news, the influencer, right? So I feel like, and this is a big one too. Getting the right influencer. This goes back to knowing who your target audience is. Don't just go out here and pay any influencer to push your brand, because it's not going to work. Just because they got 1 million followers or whatever the case, 100,000 followers, that don't automatically mean that they're going to convert people over to customers. This is a huge mistake that I see a lot of people making. A lot of people just go out here and say, hey, they pick the first person with 100,000 followers and they pay them for a campaign. No. If you are a clothing brand, you should not be paying Keith Lee, or not saying that I don't even think he take money, but you should not be paying a food influencer to market your brand. That don't make sense. So I've seen that happen a lot of times. I've seen people pay these influencers and pay the wrong influencer. Influencer marketing is super big because it's all about tapping into their audience. So you always want to, it goes back to market research. who is their audience? What are they? Why do their audience even tap into them, right? Um, how do you find the right influencer to align with your brand's values and target audience? Easy. Goes back to one of the other elements, which is identifying, what your brand values is. I think a lot of people get in a lot of industries because it's just money. So we don't really go into that deep on what the values is. And then, it's also micro and macro influencers as well. So, as small influencers, you might have an influencer with just 30,000 followers or 50,000 followers, 100,000. Then you might have a major influencer like Keith Lee, who got 16 million followers, right? So identifying that is huge. What's going on, bro? Appreciate you. So real quick, let me get you let me get some energy real quick. Identify one potential influencer or partnership that would benefit your brand. Go ahead and blow up the chat. Let's see. Let me see what we're doing. Identify one potential influencer or partnership that would benefit your brand. The U.S. government. Podcasters Network. Yes. Podcasters are definitely making a wave. I mean, they've became way bigger than radio. Master P, he a good one. I actually had one of our members, Dr. O, she actually did a campaign on Master P. And it actually, huh?
Is that Grandmaster P?
Oh no, not Grandmaster P. Master
Okay.
P.
I'm old.
No limit. You should know No Limit. Shoot. You ain't that much older than me. Master P is a good one. He actually and I actually we did Revolt with Master P. I want to say last year or the year before last. Snoop Dogg is a good one. They just paid that man what 500,000 a day to promote the Olympics. Yeah. Well, he made 7 million or something like that just to promote the Olympics. Yeah, they pay him 500,000 a day to promote the Olympics. That's a good one. Maya Bailey, yeah, definitely. Shout out to Maya Bailey, man. We actually, if you haven't checked out our exclusive interview, Art Junkie, definitely check that out. Hey, no lie though, Trump would definitely pipe something up, depending on what you pushing. Like for real.
I'm in the politics. If you want your company to fail, you have him in your
Yeah.
I mean, okay, Adam. What about his shoes? His shoes sold out in a day. $400 a pair, a nice amount. That's a good.
I'm up. And then I don't care what he's talking about. The shoes. I don't endorse what this man saying.
Block it fit, 50 Cent. 50 Cent is a good one. 50 Cent is a good one. 50 Cent definitely gonna pipe it.
But for the hype of Trump, you can benefit. Anybody can benefit.
Come on, no, I got some more people now. Come on. I want to get everybody patient points.
Man, I don't support what he says.
Identify one potential. Hold it down for me, y'all. Hold it down for me. For the ones who probably didn't hear me. Identify one potential influencer or partnership that would benefit your brand. I know y'all all got one. Let me see some more names in the chat. Oprah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Oprah owe me some money though, so let me stop. Tyler Perry is a good one. I work with Tyler Perry for sure. Who else we got? Definitely Oprah for me. Okay. Hey, let me get you real quick, Twin. I know you just tapped in. Can you actually unmute yourself and introduce yourself and what you do? And then I'm gonna have anybody else who didn't go. And then I wanna get you to answer our icebreaker question as well. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Twin.
So give me 2 minutes. I'm about to be parking. I'm actually driving. So I want to be like focused when I'm able to tell you to
All
say
right.
it. I know y'all might hear something in the background right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me get Darwin. Mr. Fix It. What's going on, man? Introduce yourself to the people that don't know. And we definitely need that energy. We need that
Most definitely. First, man. I gotta give it back up to you, man. Happy celebration of life. Another year around the sun. Most definitely. It's been a pleasure though, bro, man, to call you my brother, not even just a business partner or a friend, but my actual brother though, man, so I just gotta give it up to you though, man, for the ground that you steady covering, everything that you're doing. So for sure, man, it's your day. I know you had a blast. I know you grateful for waking up this morning, for another day. So for sure, got to give it back up to you. So whoever that's around you, I already know y'all that then probably took a shot, but man, take another shot for me or some or whatever. But for sure, man, big ups to you though, man, for sure. Yeah, man, Mr. Fixer, the one and only. Right here, a young boy from the city of Chicago. Pretty much, I embarked on marketing myself when I got back home from school from Jackson State. But then I tapped into actual financial literacy. So started learning on what consumer law was, started learning on, what could reverse risk for yourself and not even just you, but the people around you as well, too. So I started my own corporation, Fixed Financial Consulting, where I help educate and, get people to the next level with personal credit and business credit, and also development as well, too. So pretty much, like I say, educating people on how to make a full-time income on a part-time basis. So, but being partnered with Delano, like I said, in the mob has been like I said, a dream come true because like bro said, we can actually, give people value and, go into these communities and really, leave our staple and cover a lot of ground. Like a lot of people say they doing it, but we actually living it. So yeah.
Definitely. So real quick, if your brand was a superhero, what superpower would it have, and how would you use that superpower to win over customers?
Okay, if my brand was a superpower,
If your brand was a superhero, who would it be? Or well, that's how people been answering it. But if your brand had a superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it to win over customers?
this one, hey, I like this one. Everybody gonna laugh though, but oh my, hey, for real, I would be Professor X, and you know why? Because he could read minds, right?
You
And
the second
sometimes
one.
I be wanting, sometimes, or you know what I'm saying, sometimes I be wanting to like tell some of my clients like, listen, this what you need. Don't think about nothing else because most of my clients, when they get their credit restored and everything, they thinking about the wrongs. I'm telling you, and I try to tell my clients like, hey, listen, just find one thing that you've been wanting and get it out your system because after that we actually got real life work to do. So like I will be Professor X and I would use like mind reading and controlling so I can control them to do what they need to do first and you know what I'm saying, or just whenever I need them to, so they won't mess up or go down the wrong path. You know what I'm saying when it's time for that. You know what I'm saying, and I use that. As far as like girl, like because word of mouth is everything. But I would use reading minds or like take control of people to tell them, hey, look, this is where y'all need to go. This is where the value. This is where your quality. Because sooner or later when the time comes, it's gonna be very, very hard. Well, not hard to reach me, but it's gonna, what I'm saying, it ain't gonna be the same. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Professor X though, for sure.
Most definitely. Hey, if you grew up on X-Men, throw them ones in the chat.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't think I have it. I love it, man. I love it. I wanted to go to the X-Men Airbnb so bad.
Oh yeah.
I would have been like a little kid in there for sure.
Isn't Disney building like a theme?
I love it. I love it. Go ahead, twin, when you ever ready.
All right, man. How y'all doing? I'm Chris Moody. I do name of my business is Casual Luxury Auto. I do car rentals and I buy and sell cars. The name of my business is Casual Luxury for the reason of I want everybody to know that their car is not just a Pinto or anything. I want them to feel special and understand the value of their car. It's not if it's a Pinto, it's just a casual car. Don't think that it's just like, oh, it's my get around. No, that's just my casual car. Then, you know what I'm saying? If you want to say you want to feel like you got an upscale car, just say it's luxury. You just got your casual car and that's your luxury car. So I call it casual luxury, and I'm trying to be your middleman for going to car auctions, getting the car that you want. You know what I'm saying? That benefits your needs and benefits your wants. And then I also do rental cars as like Toro and stuff like that. But I'm trying to do it for I guess you would say my demographic will be towards everybody right now. My demographic is towards those that look for low end cars, maybe something like a Nissan Altima, just to get around. Maybe want to do hot, maybe want to do they want to do Uber Eats or something, or just Uber around. Those are the type of cars I deal with now. But I also want to get into like the high end cars and stuff like that. Because when you're ready to take your lady out on these business trips, hey, Chris, you got that new Rolls Royce? I got it for you. If you got that Bentley, I got it for you.
I love it. I love it. We're gonna have to get you with Mr. Fix It, man. We can get you
For
to
sure.
no.
For sure.
I already know you want it. I already know you want it. So real quick, twin, what if your business was a super, or if your business had a superpower, what would it be and how would you use it to win over customers?
Woo! Hey, man, I don't even know if I can top that X-Man.
Hey, I can.
Yeah. Okay.
Jean was more powerful than Professor X, the Phoenix. She was way more powerful. He knew it. So that could top it.
Yeah, be Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom was
Dr. Doom was, yeah, Doom.
Oh, all right, my bad. I don't know what just happened. Y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened. Shit.
Give me one real quick. First thing.
Oh, shit. I'll probably go with Superman. I don't know.
Okay, I like that.
I'll probably go with Superman. That's it. That's the only thing I can think of.
So what would your superpower do to win the customer over?
It's just to be helpful. That's the only thing I can be superpower, like just be helpful, be able to get you on your feet, get you the car that you need and want. So that's the only thing I can think of.
I rock with it. I rock.
Only kryptonite I have is going to the auction and not finding it, or your payment might not be there. But you know what I'm saying, we working on getting the we working on what you call a floor plan to actually help you be able to obtain something almost like a rent to own program.
I love that. I appreciate you for sure. I love that. I love that. Let me get you, Rico.
Would you remind him to put his information in the chat?
Oh yeah. So if you just getting in, please make sure you guys put your information in the chat, put your websites, social medias, contact info, and type in where you're listening in from as well.
You do the mechanic work.
So somebody asked, did you do the mechanic work, twin? as well, or do you got somebody that do mechanic work?
My brother do mechanic work, but I can't say that he's truly part of what I'm doing because he's just a mobile detailer. I mean mobile, he's a mobile mechanic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys put your info in the chat and follow somebody else's too. That's what it's all about. Let's connect the dots. Let me get you on,
Nico. Yo, can y'all see me? Yo, first I want to say thank you, cuz, for joining. That was my cousin, Chris Moody, you feel me? Appreciate you for showing up, cuz. Keep doing your thing, man. Hey, we're gonna be successful, you hear me? My name is Irene Bells. They say I'm hell on the well. I told the folk to do what? Weigh me on the scale. You did what I'm saying. Shoot, I wear a lot of different hats. I'm a music artist, producer, real estate investor, now clothing line maker, you know what I'm saying? Graphic designer, you feel me? Just had a song that hit 1 million views on YouTube. It's actually 1.2 million views now, you know what I'm saying, on YouTube. Yeah, wear a lot of different hats. I can't remember the first question, bro.
So, if your brand had a superpower, what would it be? And how would you use it to win over customers?
So right now I'm gonna use Power Up as my brand. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with, we're gonna stick with Marvel. I'm gonna go with Wolverine, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it be feeling like I be making hella merch, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody buying it. So that be my downtime. And I look at it like Wolverine could get, you know what I'm saying, cut up, shot in the head, that hit downtime, but he always bounce back. You feel me? So that's my superpower. I'm gonna stay down till I come up. You feel what I'm saying? And we'll bounce back, baby.
I love that. That was dope. I love that for sure. That was actually one of my favorite ones. Besides,
Hey.
I think that was the number one. But I think that was. I love that one for sure. For sure.
Appreciate it.
Make sure you guys post your and real quick, because I noticed when people get in and when they're new, they don't see the old information in the chat. So even if you already posted your information, go ahead. We're gonna take this time to post your information again in the chat for the new people that tapped in. Because I want to make sure you guys connect. And take this time to follow somebody else as well. You never know who you're on this call with and how we can really just, just these people on this call can really take over the whole world, literally. Literally. And this ain't even half the mob. Like, for real, we could really take over the world. We just got to get on one page and really, build authentic relations. I always emphasize the authentic because people use relationships so loosely and they don't even be having a real relationship. A real relationship is a give and take. A give and take. What are you giving? What are you taking away? You guys can take that, and really think about the relationship that you have now. Like, what, who are these people? And if you can't think of nothing that they're giving you or anything that you're taking away, or if you can't, and vice versa as well, then that might not be an authentic relationship. So, I'm not saying cut them off, but figure it out. Let's figure out how we can really give and take.
I wanna add one more thing, y'all. Graphic designs again. Like I said, I do the graphics, you know what I'm saying? We print all that. So if you need anything done, holla at me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Can y'all see that? All right. I can't wait. All right. I don't want to hold you guys up too much longer. I want to go over a few more things real quick. And I'm gonna actually skip a couple things straight to this because I think this is the biggest one. Storytelling. Storytelling. I really can't stress this enough. If you know me, I'm always talking about storytelling.
Propaganda.
Creating your own. I love that. Creating your own propaganda. They've been using that on us for years. So figuring out how you can really connect emotionally with your audience, humanizing your business, and building that loyalty. It's not all about, looking like you bigger than everybody or, looking luxury, looking like people can't reach you. You always want to connect with your audience. Why should they support you? What is the story behind your brand? That's why if you've been, paying attention, we've been doing more interviews. We've been getting more into, we're working on a few documentaries, different things like that, because, that's more, we've been actually getting more engagement off our interviews than anything, because it's been people that been knowing these same people that we've been interviewing for years, and this is their first time being able to connect with them because there's a lot of things that we bring out that they never even knew about these people, right? And that's big, and especially now, in this time frame that we in right now, people care more about that than internet. You don't have to be the best at what you do. But if people relate to what you do and they relate to you and they like you, they will buy air. You can literally sell air, right? And I'm big on this. We have to make sure that we're storytelling. And that comes in different forms, like I said, interviews, documentaries, movies, vlogs is a big one. I've been, especially if you're a creator or artist, people want to relate to you and feel like they're a part of the journey, right? And at the end of the day, we all going through the same stuff. We all going through the same stuff. And it's not all about looking like you perfect and you ain't got no problems, or one of the interviews that we recently did with Maya Bailey, something that really stuck out to me, he talked about when he got evicted. This guy is buying up the block right now, one of the biggest influencers when it comes to the art community in Atlanta, and it's not, if not the biggest influence, right? And he was vulnerable, and I think that's another thing that comes with storytelling, being vulnerable enough to live in your truth. Matter of fact, let me scratch that. I hate living your truth. I hate that whole phrase, but that's another aspect in just being real with your audience. And especially these days, people need to see authentic. They want to see real stuff, and they can feel it. They know when you faking. We see so much fake stuff. Unless you just super good with deep fake AI or something like that. But even with that, they be that fake. So we got a lot of internet detectives out here. So being authentic, with yourself and being authentic with your target audience is super big. So I see you raise your hand. What's going on, King?
Oh, I just wanted to share, and I think I may be older than a lot of you guys here. Um, Back in the 80s, and this is during the time of the crack epidemic and what led to it. Times was like it is now. When money gets hard, your authenticity really matters. People are not going to waste time on foolishness. If you can only do what you do, tell the truth, don't waste time because they can't afford it. And what you're saying is correct. People want you to be honest. If you can't do it, don't do it. Don't lie. Don't fake it till you make it. Don't act like you can do it. Don't pretend. If you come to people now and you being your true selves, it carries you a long way. This is not this time for you to wave the imaging and put up the fake cars and the Bentleys and act like you do all this high level stuff. Because the moment you don't deliver, you not only are you done, you've broken the heart of your client and your reputation is trash. So what you're saying is actual, and this is true fact that right now, authenticity truly, truly matters.
Ooh, boy. So I'm all about perception is everything. And you know what? And I'm getting away from that because nowadays we live in this realm where it's the fake it till you make it realm, right? It's the fake it till you make it industry, and what I want to say, the time frame right now, that's in right now, right? Error, right? We in the fake it till you make it error. And we need to get out of that, right? We need to make being real and authentic cool. And then that's why when you look at the Master Our Business page, like, yes, I got people that can put 1 million followers on there, but I'm not doing that on purpose because I want to build, we building an authentic following. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, that's cool. If you're looking at our Instagram followers and determining whether you should rock with us off the Instagram followers, you are not the target audience. Where you're not the people that you don't even qualify to be a member at the end of the day. We want real, we bringing the real back. You know what I mean? Like, even with these brainstorming sessions, I don't have a script. I'm not going on the script. I'm not trying to sell you guys a course. I'm not giving you half the information so you can buy whatever course. If you want to become a member or whatever, so be it, right? But we're gonna give you the whole, this is me, right? And that brought me a long way, especially being, from Detroit. I'm from an area where we had no choice but to be real. And those of you that know me, even with I've been through the prison system, right? And that's what got me through that, being myself. I didn't get in there trying to act gangster and act the most toughest and fake it. People seeing me for who I was, and I got through that and got, number one, God got me through, but God told me to be myself, right? And that got me through so many different situations, and that got me to the point where I'm at now. Working with these major brands and being, and working with people like yourselves, all these powerful people that's even just on this call, being real got me there. Not standing in front of a Bentley that ain't mine, or renting out a Rolls Royce. I never rented a car for well, not for myself. I do production, and I think that's what really messed me up too. Getting into digital media and production, where we're renting these props, we renting these houses, we renting these mansions and these cars just to make this artists or whoever that we're shooting for look bigger than what they is. So that's why right now, I don't even work with a lot of artists because that's all they want to do. And I tell them, like, just be vulnerable, show who you are. I was talking to an artist not too long ago. I don't want to take up too much of y'all time. I was talking to an artist not too long ago, and they was like, man, I don't, I'm homeless, and I'm going through it right now. That's why I don't show a lot of I don't take a lot of pictures and show a lot of video. I'm like, this is the time where you need to be showing where you at, and track your progress, because sometimes people can relate off of that. It's people out here that's homeless just like you, or been homeless, and they'll become your most loyal fan because you showed that, because you was that vulnerable with them. Look at XXXTentacion. He talked about suicide and different things like that. He built a cult following off of that. He didn't build a cult following off of popping bottles and, oh, I'm in the club shitting on y'all and all this. Like, he built a cult following off of being real and being authentic and being vulnerable. So that's super big. Show, if you got a day job, we ain't shitting on that. Show it. Be honest, right? If you're not rich, people gonna see it anyway. And that's what, when I went through the system, that's what it showed. The people that did try to come through and fake, and put up a facade, it it was seen right. We seen right through it. It never lasts. And like Phil said, once you don't deliver, you shatter a relationship that could have been for a lifetime. You missed out. So that's big, and we always want to inspire the ones who ain't on top, the ones who, it's all about motivation. You get what I'm saying? So, I should change that to authentic storytelling, because you can storytell as well and lie in your story. So I think authentic storytelling is super big, and that's where it goes. So real quick, I want to run through these next couple ones and let you guys go. Social media branding is a big one. Right now we're in the realm of technology. If you don't have a social media. It's so crazy. I still come across people, like literally yesterday, I was talking to a brand who did not have a social media, didn't have an Instagram or nothing. And because we did a shout out video for her, we made her create, and not made her, like we forced her, but it influenced her to create an Instagram. And that's big. It's like, what are you doing? We in the 21st century. It's 2000. It's about to be 2025. We got to get ahead of it, right? And not just building a page and just throwing a bunch of random stuff on there. Creating a cohesive calendar, which is something that we do with everybody who, because we do social media management and marketing. We do understand, like, most business owners don't have time to be on social media, figure out what content to create and post, captions, hashtags. We understand that, but that's something that should, if you're not that person, you should have that in your budget, and put together a team that do that, as far as creating a cohesive calendar. Everybody who, matter of fact, let me see something real quick so y'all don't even, who on here, who page we managing on here. Dang, I wish I had Fee here, because we actually just took over her page. But that's one of the first things that we do, is create a content calendar, figuring out what goals, what values, you know, and what content we want to put out throughout the month. You should have a content calendar put together. If you do not know how to put together a content calendar, chat GPT. That's all I should say. And even with that, you know, even with using AI, it always changes. You always want to keep up with the trends. That goes back to market research. You know, really doing your due diligence to go on your competitors. What are they posting on their social medias? How do they social media look? You know, are they using branding colors? Are they using what type of content are they putting out? Because the trends are steady evolving, steady changing. By the time you get on the trend, is on to the next one. So that's super big for us. Drafting so basically real quick, I'm gonna leave you guys with a assignment. I want you guys to draft up a 1 week social media content count, outlining posts, far as photos, videos, and quotes. I want you guys not using AI either. I know I just gave y'all a shortcut. But draft up, and it ain't gotta be perfect, you know, it ain't gotta be perfect, but I want to see it, and that way we can start something, and I'll give you guys some input and different things like that. But I want you guys to draft up just 1 week. I usually do 30 days, but draft up 1 week, a 1 week social media content calendar. And this should include photos, videos, and quotes. That's it. So, again, I don't want to hold you guys up. I had a few more things to touch on, but I think that's a perfect way to kind of leave it. I'm looking forward. I'm gonna be checking up on y'all throughout the week. If you guys get your social media calendars together, send them to me as soon as you do. I'm gonna put my input, and then we're gonna figure out how to extend it from there, and then we're gonna go from there. So that's the assignment, you guys. If you guys need to write it down or anything like that, I'm gonna also be sending out the recap to the brainstorming session. Real quick, I'm going to post some links in the chat for you guys that if you guys need. Oh snap! So if you guys know anybody who would benefit from from any of our resources, or want to become a mentor or advisor, or want to be an affiliate as well, I'm gonna post these links in the chat for you guys to share them. Do anybody got any questions or concerns so far before we wrap it up?
Well, I just want to make it. Oh damn. Yeah. So no, I just saw that. I just want to make a statement. I was watching the interview with 50 Cent with $1 million worth of game, and it was asking him like, you know, his top 5 inspirations, and he mentioned Jay-Z, and he made a good point about Jay, considering at the time Jay-Z wasn't the highest selling artist, but the way he created his persona put him in a position that any other artist like a Juvenile, DMX, or whoever at the time was selling. So kind of going back to your image and knowing your brand, your image, and how you want it. Like I say, me personally, I look at it like create your own propaganda to the market. Cause that's what they do to us. You know what I'm saying? Like they create a narrative, they use it against us to claim that we monkeys and we just eat watermelon and fried chicken and all this grape Kool-Aid and all that. So understanding that and kind of spinning it on his head and using it for your advantage and figuring out like, well, what do you stand for? Like, what do you want people to recognize you for? And kind of create that persona, that mystique, because that's what Jay-Z did. You know, like he created, you know, even if he probably sold crack and did whatever he did, he definitely created a business persona in the process of developing who he end up eventually becoming. So I try to emulate that in myself, you know, and people may say it's a little cockiness or arrogancy, but I mean, I feel like it works, you know, and I'm humble, but at the same time, I do try to create a persona of like,
straightforward, to the point, no small talk. Let's cut the deal. At least let's negotiate, talk the talk. You know what I mean? And it's working. So that's just kind of my thought process, and kind of understanding who your brand is, and really rely on that, and kind of, like you say, study your competitors, people that you want to see your brand like in the future, like, and really lean on that. And it goes a long way over time, because it's a marathon. You feel me? So before you know it, shit, ass will be your vision. That's like the law of attraction. You know what I'm saying? Living it in real time. Well, Chief.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So to add on that, I'm big on Gary V. I watch a lot of his content. I've been putting people up on him for probably like 6-7 years now. And one thing that one thing they spoke about is mascots, right? How most of these companies are moving away from mascots, but the people that is not moving away from mascots are still in the game. Like Geico, you don't know who Geico is.
Yeah.
You know that little Geico listen, right? No, so this is another little jewel. Let's get some mascots, y'all.
No, let me tell you, bro. So
Might be an icebreaker question too.
No, for real. That's crazy. So I did an activation for Aflac. And so they called me over the weekend because they did like the big SEC game with the Bulldogs and Clemson. So they had a large footprint. We setting it up. And then I asked the question because it was like the actual Aflac duck gets paid appearance fee, 50 grand, first class flights, staying in the new Signia high rise. I'm like, what? And the duck is only like, the concept of the duck is what, 20 something years old, but the company's 50 years old. And I don't know the farm. I don't know the farm where the duck originally is from. Is that a part of the business? But if you look at a mascot, I mean, that's another extension of your brand. That's merchandise, like for real. Like I got my own little character called Slate. I kind of use him at times. You may see him on my clothes and merch, but the goal is to turn him into a household name, you know what I mean, in the production world, to where it's on keychains, it's stickers, it's on shirts, it's on whatever. And when you see that, you think on set. You feel me? So it's just like a variation of your brand. But yeah, when I saw that and heard that about the duck, I was like, that's crazy. I didn't know people really wanted to see the duck and take pictures, and it's a whole fiasco for this duck.
I don't know who made that suit. Tony. It's a list of them. So I think, at the end of the day, and I'm big on studying the ones before us who actually succeeded and still succeeded. I'm big on going back on history of these juggernauts and figuring out what did they do, and not only, I don't want to just hear the success story. I want to know where they messed up at. Like where did they go wrong at, and where did they succeed at? So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. I was supposed to been wrap up, but it's always really good.
Happy birthday,
I appreciate y'all, man, so much, man. I'm gonna wrap up there. Hit me up online, man, if you guys got any questions or concerns, any ideas that you want to go over. Let's continue on building. This ain't all about just once a week. Every single day we can build. This is what we're doing full time, building a whole community. And we're taking over the world, So I appreciate you guys, man. You guys have a blessed day. I'll talk to you shortly.